So here's a big one that everybody asks, because a lot of New York is our biggest market, followed by Atlanta, Los Angeles, so Oakland, California. So we have listeners all over the world, but a lot of people are in these major markets, and the common denominator is that real estate is expensive, extremely high. So a lot of people get discouraged. They like, all right, this might work for, if you're in the middle of America, but in Brooklyn, in Harlem, like in, LA, this is not working. I don't have enough money to buy real estate.
Not gonna happen.
So this is something that I think is going to be extremely beneficial. How to win and beat out cash buyers and hedge funds in expensive markets like New York and Los Angeles.
Yeah, you got to know what you're doing. You're playing against heavy hitters, and so you have to elevate your game. If you think you're just going to walk into the real estate market and be able to play with the big boys and not understand what you're doing, you're going to lose every time. So I tell people all the time, you see a property on Jullien Zillow, first and foremost, that's not where I go to find properties. All of my properties I find is off-market deals. So I'm not competing with people, because once a property hits one of those websites, there's a 30% premium. Because now demand is increasing because everybody in the world is seeing that property. That's getting emailed out to everyone, right? So I'm looking for off-market deals. And how do you find off-market deals? You find them through relationships, through human beings. So my real estate Rolodex in New Orleans is about 66 people, multiple agents. Okay, that's a gem. I don't just have one agent. Like a lot of people think you just get one agent and let them go do all the work. No, I have multiple agents. Why would I restrict my search to one single agent? Now, if that agent happens to be the best in the city at identifying multifamily properties, I'll sign an exclusive agreement with them. But otherwise, whoever brings me the deal is who's going to get the commission and get paid. I have contractors, I have lenders, I have other property owners, I have friends and family who are looking out for me. Why would a contractor be looking out for me? Because if they find a deal and bring it to me, who's going to get the work? When I need to rehab that property, the contractor is, right? So
what's that process like? Because a lot of times people fall into that, you know what, everything was great, I can't find a good contractor. What's the process of finding a good one, keeping a good one, building relationships with them?
Yeah, it's word of mouth and pulling up on people on site. So when you see a contractor outside of a house, you got to pull up. You got to see their work. Otherwise, you're just guessing off of some Yelp reviews or something like that, and all of those can be manipulated. If I actually see your work and I see that you started here about Wednesday and you were out the door by Monday of next week for a bathroom, then I know you are efficient and good at what you do. And it's got to be word of mouth. Like my real estate Rolodex has been built by word of mouth and then pulling up people on site and testing them out. So you might test them out on painting one bedroom before you test them out on painting the entire house that you have, right? And see what the quality of work is at that level. But back to the question at hand. So off-market deals. The other thing is that the only thing that beats a cash offer is a fast offer. So you have to be confident about what you're doing. And when it comes to evaluating multifamily real estate, there's actually 23 numbers that you need to know. When you're buying a single family home, is how much do we get approved for, right? $400,000. How much is the home? $380,000. Do we like it? Yes or no? 3 factors. When you're buying multifamily real estate, there's 23 numbers that you have to know to evaluate a deal. And if you leave out one single number, you can literally step into a bad deal that will set you back for 5 to 10 years. So you have to know how to run those numbers. If you are on Jullien Zillow and you're over here hearting stuff and bookmarking stuff, I know you're not ready to play this game, because when you are hearting something on Tuesday, right, and put it in your favorites folder, and you're talking about, I'm going to come back to it on Saturday. What's the 2 words under the listing every time you come back to it on Saturday? Pending, under contract. Because you didn't know how to play the game. Somebody else saw the deal and moved on it. So you have to be able to make those decisions confidently. And it's all based on numbers. Multifamily real estate is purely based on economics, not on emotions. So I don't make emotional decisions when it comes to multifamily real estate. For instance, the property that I bought in Oakland, I was living here in Brooklyn. I ran the numbers and my offer was in within 1 hour of the listing being up. Within 1 hour. Right? No hesitation whatsoever. I didn't have to see the property. I've actually never set foot inside of this property. I bought that property for $480,000 in 27 months. We got it reappraised. 27 months later, it's worth $710,000. And I've never set foot inside of it. So for those who are in expensive markets, your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. Some people bought Amazon stock and never been to Seattle. You bought Nike stock and never been to Oregon. Your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. So when you understand how to run the numbers and you know certain neighborhoods and you have a great agent on the ground in that market, you're not limited to where you are. A lot of people think, oh, real estate, it has to be where I'm living. And that's cool. Typically, I tell people, here's the 4 markets that you should invest in. And a lot of people think that they're cities. No. One, try to invest where you live. Okay. If that doesn't work because it's too expensive or something like that, 2, invest where you're from, because you know what was happening there when you're growing up. You're able to see the patterns and the trends. That's why I invested in Oakland, right? Then 3, invest where you want to be a contribution. So for me, that was New Orleans. I want to be a contribution to that culture. And then 4, invest wherever you can make money. I've never invested purely in a place because of making money. So when it comes to real estate being expensive where I am, let's just calculate how expensive you paying rent is for the next 5, 10, 15 years, right? If your rent in New York is $2,000, that's $24,000. That's an L. That's a $24K L. And if we multiply that by 10 years, that's $250,000. That's $240,000, 10 years. So what's actually more expensive? So in an expensive market, like typically we're looking for a 12% cash on cash return, right? But in a market like New York, you might have to settle for the fact that the money that's coming out of my pocket is less than what I'm paying in rent. So if I'm negative $2,000 in rent in New York, and I'm able to find a multifamily that only reduces my housing expense to $500, that's actually a win in an expensive market. Is it the ideal 12% cash on cash return when my property is now paying me? No. But it's actually changing my cash flow of my family, because now I'm up $1,500 a month because of this multifamily. So these are some of the keys: being willing to invest from a distance, reevaluating the numbers and comparing it to how expensive rent is, because that's going to be there. Unless you change something, rent is going to continue to be there. There's only 3 ways to get rid of your housing expense forever. That is 1, live in a tent; 2, go to jail; or 3, buy multifamily real estate.
So you talk about 23 numbers to know. What are some of the numbers that they should know?
So you have to know the rents, obviously, right? Just because a seller gives you rent roll doesn't mean that those are the actual rents. You need to know what the actual rents are. You need leases. You need to verify those rents.
Talk about that, because that's something that people don't fully appreciate. Like, yeah, you have to actually know what's actually happening with the property.
Yeah.
Not what they're just telling you is happening.
Yeah, you have to do due diligence. So I'm asking for leases, but even leases don't tell me if that tenant is actually paying on time. So I need to actually see that amount of money hitting the account between the 1st and the 5th for all 4 units that I'm about to purchase. I'm buying a business. Right. I'm buying a business. And if we were going to buy a laundromat or something like that, we're going to actually need to see the cash flow. Now, because most owners are just individuals, some of them don't have good accounting around the actual cash flow of the property, but you have to know what you're getting into, especially in this market where you have COVID restrictions and you can't evict people, etc. You got to actually know those things. And so I'm asking for bank statements. I don't need to see your entire bank statement, cross everything out, but I need to see when that money actually hit the account, right? But then we use other online tools like Rentometer to actually identify how much should this particular unit be getting, right? And so if I see that a seller has not increased rents for 10 years and the rents are actually at $1,000, but I run the numbers over here and look at the standard deviation, because that's what a Rentometer does, and I see that that could actually be commanding $1,300 a month, then I might have found some hidden value in a particular property. Now, as an ethical investor, I'm not interested in displacing people. So I'm not like some of these other real estate folks who say, yeah, just come and buy the property and just kick the people out. No, as ethical investors, we put people before profit. We put people before profit. We want our people to stay in our communities. But what's crazy is that a good investor actually has to increase rents every single year, and that was a hard awakening for me. And here's why: if I'm an owner in Oakland and I don't increase rents just because I want to be nice to my tenants, right? Then when I want to sell my property at $800,000, a property that I got 15 years ago for $300,000, the rents will not justify that to a seller, and therefore I will be stuck in that property and never be able to get it off. So I'll literally not be able to ever get liquid or release that property because the rents don't justify it. And so we increase rents according to the CPI in that market. So if the CPI in Oakland went up 3% that year, then we're going to increase rents by 3%. Because guess what? My other expenses are going to go up by 3%. My contractors are going to go up. My utilities are going to go up. My garden is going to go up. And so in order to provide taxes are going up. So in order to still provide you with the quality housing that I desire to provide for you, I have to be able to meet that. If I think just by being nice right, and keeping your rent where it is, then ultimately I might not have enough money to fix that roof leak because I didn't increase rents, but all my other expenses went up during that period of time.
It's true.
Yeah, so this is really key. So even as an ethical investor, we have to increase rents, but we don't increase rents in such a way where it's going to be from $1,000 to $1,300 just like that, or else you got to get out. That's not how we treat people.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.